Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk. Chip Darden, as always, to my left. Colton Coons behind the camera, taking care of us and producing us as always. Man, 3-0, hard to be better than that. And you go up to Canyon, tough opponent, and it was a bit of a grind, but you guys come out with a 27-7 win that, you know, I think you have to feel really, really good about.
Yeah, we do. Told the guys after the game, and we talked about this. I think it was after the Lovejoy game, that first win that we had. We talked to them about every win we're going to enjoy. You know, pretty ugly, it doesn't matter. Winning's hard, and we've been fortunate. We've won some games around here, and that's great. But it's hard to do, and it's hard, and so the kids need to be proud of it. But I got the feeling after the game that our kids felt that way, like, well, we got the win, but shoot, that was a good win. Tascosa's a good team. They're a playoff team in that Division 5A Division 1. I know they're going to make the playoffs. A lot of returners from last year. So I just was impressed with our kids. They, to me, handled different situations. They handled being in kind of a dogfight that was a lower possession game that we hadn't been in the first couple weeks, and just no panic, and handled it really well. So I was proud of them. I thought that was a big win for our program.
Do maybe your kids or somebody looks at this thing and goes, man, that game was much closer than the score would indicate, because which would speak to it was a fight now.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys are able to just be a little bit better than them steadily, especially in the second half. And I thought at halftime it kind of flipped, but they hung in there, but you just pulled away. But that's probably why.
And I really think you can make an argument either way there.
Okay.
I also think the way our defense was playing, I mean, their one touchdown came off of a short field. They had a long kick return that gave them a short field, and then we had a 15-yard penalty, a horse collar. Other than that, I don't know if they came real close to scoring, so I could see it the other way too. But,
that's fair.
It was. I mean, I don't think there was ever a point until, maybe the last possession that you felt like, okay, we got this. So. It was a battle, but they're well coached. They've got a great program. I like that. I like playing teams that have good programs like that they build it from middle school up, kind of like we do, and you can just tell those kids run a system, and they're good at it.
And they've been running it for many, many years.
Yeah.
That's right. Coach Plunk does a good job. We mentioned this after the Lovejoy game. There was a million plays you could have chosen. The fumble that Cale Kirk kind of poked loose kind of turned out to be the play of the game. Do you know where I'm going here?
I do.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
You mentioned one of them, but, I mean, take me through Abe Brandiger, because if not for him, maybe we are having a slightly different conversation. Yep. He has two, I mean, are they score-saving tackles?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
For sure.
And two of them. And T.J. Tillman, who we talked about in this space last week, he's got the ball in the open field, and Abe is able to get him down twice in the open field. Not easy to do.
Yeah, and Abe plays defense for us. He's a defensive back, so that helped. But he was thrown into kicking duties, and to be frank, our kickoff team just wasn't very good. We had some mistakes that sometimes you have to make and get them on film than for us to fix it and for us to see it. So I think we're going to be a lot better this week with that unit, but some breakdowns there. And Abe, he was our game changer, because I think those two, they end up scoring on one of those drives. But again, if we make them snap it 5 or 6 times with the offense that they run, just any clock that's ticked off that, then we score and get, you get up a couple scores, and now we've, another 3 minutes is huge in that game. So those were huge plays. I think they were momentum plays too. Tascosa, you take that to the house. I just think they've got a lot of momentum, and their defense probably comes out and is playing a little bit different too. So proud of him. He did a good job of not panicking either on both of them. If you just watch, he did a good job of just letting it come to him and finding a way to bring him down.
Yeah, he's a heck of a soccer player too.
Yep.
But that footwork certainly helping him, and that DB background and all that stuff. So I wanted to make sure that we mentioned him, because those don't show up in the box score really, other than just tackles. But it's a different game if he lets one or both of those and get by. Offensive line had to be reshuffled a bit. A lot of different pieces, some injuries. Speak to that group and kind of just pushing through, and the group in total, because there was a lot of folks involved.
There was. I was real proud of them. A couple things. One, what you're talking about. I mean, we had some guys that Kind of got banged up a little bit, and just guys rotating in, and we didn't skip.
They're trying to block a dude named Crush.
Yeah, he's really good. That's the thing. I thought, you had your first group of guys, and then guys like Joey Felicia and Keenan Catwinkle, they hop in and just play well, and then Kyle Polite was a little banged up and comes back in the second half, plays a good game. But the other part I was real proud of them is we challenged them at halftime, got after them a little bit, and you might can still hear it in my voice some, but got after them pretty good, and not necessarily just their play, but we thought Tascosa's D-line was really bringing it to us, and that we weren't bringing the physicality to them, and maybe just trying to be too perfect and not just playing physical. And that goes one of two ways. They can shut down and not play well in the second half, or that they can get it going, and I thought they did. I thought our second half was a lot better, and kind of nice. That last drive was one of our type of drives that we're just running the ball, we're handing that sucker off, running power, and it was a nice drive to finish the game.
Obviously Michael Deaver with an unbelievable one-handed grab. It's kind of ho-hum at this point. He does this so often, almost to the point where maybe he throws up and catches it one hand when he doesn't even need to. I don't know.
He told me, he came to the sideline, and I just gave him a hug, and I wouldn't even say anything other than, man, good job. And he said, I know, I should have used two hands. I said, oh, you're good. Hey, if you catch it, it don't matter.
Yeah, that's right. I actually saw him the next day at Jones AT&T Stadium. I said, man, you sure you couldn't have thrown up that other hand? He just laughed. So, yeah, we're on the same page there. But you're right, as long as you catch it. But
yep.
the one time you don't,
that's when you're in trouble.
About it. It's like the outfielder out there that you're supposed to do this, and the one time it falls out of that glove, you will hear about it.
Yep.
But Cade Gant starting to get in on the action.
Yeah.
Known Cade for a long time. He's a phenomenal athlete, but he's starting to become a weapon on the other side of the field. And how about Reed Waters' catch?
Yeah, both of those guys playing the same position, and that's one thing this non-district does is we hope to get confidence in multiple guys playing spots and I think we've got that at all our receiver spots. Feel really good about anybody going in and being able to contribute. But we knew Cade was going to have a big year. He played a little bit of varsity last year, and just he's very athletic, fast. And then Reed just and I don't want to.
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it sound like this is going to sound bad. It's not meant bad, but he doesn't wow you at practice as far as he's not the fastest receiver. He's not. He probably doesn't have the best hands, but he makes plays, and that was just a great play. The funny part of that is this is just how focused he was just on the ball and the sideline. After the game we found out he didn't even know he scored a touchdown. He thought he was still it was like first and goal. And he couldn't figure out why everybody's celebrating so much. So that was pretty funny. But that just tells you how focused he was just on the ball, making the catch. And
yeah,
he wasn't all ready for some touchdown celebration. It was business as usual for him.
I'm just glad he took after his sweet mother instead of his dad. So
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I did. And he made an unbelievable catch at one of the scrimmage that you had at home on the home sideline. Got those 2 feet in, and I mean, I'm just sitting there like it was a big time play.
He's a really good player.
Yeah,
proud of him.
Cale Kirk. So we're all mentioning juniors here, but Cale Kirk, I think, led the team in tackles with 15.
Mm-hmm.
I almost had to ask you, is this right?
Yep.
But that's again a lot of opportunity for tackles whenever you just have to tackle the run game repeatedly in the dive and all the things. But that's Cole Stanzione is somebody we're used to, but Cale Kirk a bit new to the party there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you say it's easy, but it is hard in Cale's position in that offense because he has to be so disciplined at what he's doing, and they get a pitch out to their guys in space, and that's tough. Those
Open
are tough
field
tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So really proud of him, and we got after him too. Like that's another thing I love about him. He's a coachable kid. You can get after him when he makes a mistake, and he turns right around and fixes it, and doesn't pout because the coach is getting on to him or trying to coach him. And He is a really good football player. Like I think if people don't know who Cale Kirk is at this point, they're starting to figure it out because he's a really talented football player.
Yeah, and you had a big day, Jackson Austin, and
Yep.
obviously Ryan Rodriguez played well. It's you're starting to build some depth at some of the skill, and I think like things like that. So it's just been interesting to kind of see your team come up with a bit of an identity and everything like that.
I thought another one underrated, and then he got in the end zone. But Deuce Johnson has had a limited role on offense, but we know he's got the ability to have a big role, and it really started with special teams. He's busting his tail on special teams. Anytime he's out there, you watch him. Even if he misses a block or misses an assignment, he is full speed, and so I think that then translates to offense and gets him more reps, and so been proud of him.
I'm glad you called him Deuce. That's all I've ever known him as. Shemaine is like his God-given name, and Deuce has told a variety of all of us different things to call him, but I'm just rolling with Deuce. Here and on the broadcast, everything, he's Deuce to me, and he's Deuce to you, dadgummit. That's the way it shall be, unless his sweet mother has an issue with it, to which I'll say, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. So, we'll do that. Okay, so as we transition to this week's opponent, this is always a fun one for the city. It's a very emotional. There's a lot of interest. Do you have to, just the week where you really just have to just try to eliminate most of these distractions that can creep into program and things like that?
Yeah, and I think our kids are good about it. I mean, even going back 10 years ago, social media was just so different than it is now. And, I mean, it's just part of daily life, I feel like. So, we're not telling them stay all the way off social media, but the focus has been about us and how we prep for the game, and the game is what matters, not the lead up to it. The game matters. So I think our kids have handled that really well, and I think it'd be different if this was year one playing them, or from a long hiatus or something, and we're playing them again. But we're used to it. We're used to playing in this game, and so I think our kids handle all that pretty well. But it's another thing that we talked about. It's exactly why you play the game. Like you play football to try to be in games like this, and every one of them matters, but it'd be lying if it didn't say this one matters a little bit more to everybody, to players, to fans, to coaches, all of it.
The first year I was doing this show with you, like 2 years ago, I think I remember saying before this particular game, it means everything and yet it means nothing.
Correct.
Which is it's like this oxymoron or this big circle that you're talking in, but it's because it does matter to people. Yep. And it does matter to people on different sides of the city, and everybody knows each other, and yet it can't help either team ultimately reach what they signed up to play football for this particular year, winning a state championship, getting the playoffs, winning a district. None of that is on the table now.
Yeah, and I think, but again, and we talked about this, I know a lot, Lovejoy Week, about we try to do everything to prep for something down the road. It was a perfect game for that. I told our kids this morning, the first state semifinal game that we played in 2019, I think most people thought Aledo was going to blow us out, that it would be a 5-touchdown game, and we really should have won the game. And I think a lot of it goes back to being in the Frenship game for overtime.
61-53.
15,000 people. The moment wasn't big for our kids. It was just part of it. So I think that's something that's good. And then, the other deal is like each game, that Tascosa game was huge. It was a neutral site game against a playoff type team. Okay, it's a playoff atmosphere. Well, when you win in the playoffs, it gets a little more pressure, a little bigger game, and that's just kind of how this is. And next week we start district, so it's a bigger game than it is this week, and it just kind of will continue. So we use it. We use it as something that maybe down the road makes us better.
That's a great point. Yeah, and the last 5 of these games have been one-score games.
Yep.
I mean, 1 point, 3 point, 1 point, 6 point, 8 point. I mean, that's the
and the 8 point was a 4 overtime game.
4 overtime. Yeah. I mean, and there, like it'll be this year. That game there was just loads of Division I talent on the field at the same time, and you'll have some of that this year. Okay, so Coach Northcutt. Their team is 2-1. They lost a very close one to Byron Nelson out of week 1, and they've had 2 really good back-to-back games against the 2 Wichita Falls schools. So this is what people need to know. They score in bunches. They spread it out. They've got really good receivers. They've got a new quarterback that is picked up where the last one left off, and he can run around and extend plays. And defensively, they're probably better than what some are going to say because they have athletes on that side of the ball. But just kind of take me through the dynamic of the Frenship Tigers this year.
Yeah, their offense is one of the best I've seen on film. Like all the years coaching, they're really good. I think they do a good job of how they pair stuff. I think they do a good job of getting their guys in space. You know, if you try to take them away from doing a certain thing, they use motion. They protect the quarterback really well, and they're really good. And but it starts with 7. I think 7 is a unreal talent, the Campbell kid, and then 17, they're two outside receivers that are Power 5 guys. And I think it's a great challenge for our secondary. We've gone against a Power 5 guy at Lovejoy, and it'll be something similar, but having one on each side makes it very difficult. Can't overload one side.
And last year, their quarterback, he ran the ball a lot.
Yep.
Y'all kind of tried to take away a lot, and he was like, okay. Well, but this Holden Phillips, I think, he doesn't really do that as much. He's extending, looking to throw.
Yeah, he hasn't. And I'll say this: last year, Hutchinson didn't a whole lot too before they played us.
Okay,
that's part of it.
Yeah,
but
Hutchinson.
yeah, I mean, we're prepping for everything. We know if we are light in the box, they're good enough to run the ball. Okay. I mean, they've done it. They've used some tight ends and a Y off, and I think they'll do it. And then if we go stack the box, they're obviously going to throw it, and that's what they like to do. So, screen game's really good. I mean, it's like anything you look at on offense, they're pretty good at it. So, and then defensively, I think the last 6 quarters they've given up 2 touchdowns. So obviously that shows where they're at on defense, and gave up a lot of points to Byron Nelson. Byron Nelson is pretty consensus top 25 6A right now. They're a good team. I think they're 2-1. South Lake Carroll beat them last week, but they're a really good team, a really good program. So that loss, and Frenship was up 21-0 in that game, and really had either a game tying or taking the lead. Guy going in to score and got it punched out from behind for a touchback out of the back of the end zone, or I think they might win that game. So they're really good, but I think Pirates are pretty good too. And so we're gonna go in and I think play a game that's fun to watch, and I think it'll be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, obviously I can't wait for Friday night. It should be fun. We will. We're not done here yet. We've got a few more things for Coach Darden, but we will obviously broadcast this game on 100.7 The Score. It will be on the LCISD YouTube channel. Myself, Tommy Wood, Chuck Darden, and Taylor Peters on the call. Colton Coons, who's responsible for these shows, will be producing the telecast, if you will, on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. And if you can't be there, but tickets also sold out in some aspects, but there's still general admission tickets on the Cooper sideline or the Cooper side of the stadium, so you can get those online. So make sure you check that out, at least at the time that we're taping this now. So we'll see where that goes from here. Okay, so any more about this upcoming game? It should be. I mean, this is what you do this stuff for, though. I mean, these games are. And this is what's fun about it. So it should be fun. Okay, do you want to do 3 things now, or do you want to talk about the snack of the week here?
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
You've been waiting to say that?
I have.
For 20 minutes.
Right when I walked in.
And these there's peanut butter inside. Okay.
Like it?
Solid combination?
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably prefer just a regular pretzel.
Pretzel, really? Okay.
But these are good.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah. It's a little
good snack.
Little protein hit there.
Yep.
So just a little peanut butter goodness on the inside of those. So yeah, hey, okay. It's better than a Kit Kat, I'll say that. Okay, 3 things.
Probably.
3 things. Your 3 favorite players when you were growing up. I think I've asked you something similar before.
But like any level of football, you're saying, or like?
Yeah, I mean, just like if you're rocking a jersey,
yeah.
Chip Darden at 8 years old, at 15 years old. I mean, like you can span some eras, but I want to say, was Warren Moon number 1?
Warren Moon's number 1.
Shout out to Frank Reich.
Yeah, hey, come on, man.
Appreciate that. Shout out
sorry.
to
That's sorry. Warren Moon's number 1. Not even close. I had a Oilers, and I actually had a Warren Moon's Vikings jersey too when I was little.
Oh wow! Okay.
But yeah, big Warren Moon fan. He's number 1. For Texas Tech, I was a big Marcus Coleman fan. That was when I was getting to really liking football. Like the Zach Thomas interception against A&M. part of me was kind of mad
though.
because Marcus Coleman was right behind him and was going to pick it too, and I wanted Marcus to
Marcus
be the
Coleman
hero.
was
I love
before
Zach
his
too.
Marcus Coleman was before his time.
Yeah.
He was a hybrid player before that existed and could do everything on a football field.
Yep. Loved Marcus Coleman.
You ever met him?
I don't know if I have or
I've
not.
gotten to know him quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
He's into coaching and does some different things. But he's just one of those. He was a 5th-round pick by the Jets.
Okay.
I think maybe even a 3rd-round pick. But anyway, they had some dudes on that defense. But Marcus Coleman, one of the best guys I've ever seen play over there.
Yeah, I agree.
That's saying a
I
lot.
agree with that.
That's saying a
I
lot.
agree. He played a long time in the NFL.
Yeah.
That third one, obviously Texas Tech fan, but I'd probably say Robert Hall. Robert Hall and Lloyd Hill, that connection. Again, that's when I started loving football, and it's kind of crazy. Those days I would sneak into the games. Like how times have changed. Anyway, I could tell you our secrets.
Yeah, where did you go? Like at the grass?
So like and my dad was a coach, part of the coach association. He could bring one guest, and so they would. My dad and my sister would stand there, and then I'd just sneak right on in. Things have changed now. It's a little more,
you
structured
gotta get scanned
there.
in and all that stuff. That's funny. Okay, so Warren Moon, Robert Hall / Lloyd Hill, and Marcus Coleman. Interesting.
Yeah.
Any other pro player that other than Warren?
Man,
Moon,
I
or just
love
an Oilers.
Oilers. I loved all those receivers.
Ernest Givens.
Man. And Webster Slaughter was one of my favorites,
Yeah.
even though he was a Brown, which I don't like the Browns, but all of them.
Okay.
Haywood Jeffries, man.
Those were some good
fun.
Oilers teams for sure. The run and shoot and
shoot.
all the stuff. Okay, this is more serious or whatever. 3 things you would advise people to do daily. Like, well, if you're telling your guys, hey guys, these are things you should be doing daily. Like, it could be anything from, man, make sure you're smiling. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make sure you're reading your favorite passage in the Bible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. What are 3 things you would say that you would advise people?
I could go to the Jimmy V deal, but I won't go to Jimmy V. I won't be.
It's a
like
great
that.
call.
But it's
a great
good.
call.
But I do think being kind to someone, like, and our team talks about that a lot. About do you want to be a good team, or do you want to have an impact that lasts a while? And to me, just the way you treat others matters. So I think being kind to someone, I think you got to laugh every day.
And it doesn't cost anything to be nice to somebody.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I think you got to laugh every day. I don't know. The last one might be just make sure that you're listening to your wife and you do what she says.
Well, I concur.
better do those every day.
I'm going to retweet exactly what he said right there. So that's well done. Okay, man. Well, it should be fun. I appreciate you taking time this week. I know it's a busy week, and great result last Friday. It's going to be a fun night this Friday night. Pirates Stadium, 7:00. Pregame coverage starts at 6:30. A lot of pomp and circumstance with this game and all that. So it should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Yep. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all all Friday.
All right, that's been another edition of Pirate Talk. For Chris Lovell, for Chip Darden, for Colton Coons. We'll talk to you next time.